We'll see how many are coming in. Share screen. Share. All right. We should have everybody now. So on both ends, you should be hearing me. You should be seeing the screen. We're off and running. Only a couple minutes delayed. All right, we're improving. Still have not solved the initial problem with my audio initially turning on via Discord. So, good morning, Michael on Zoom. Good to see you. Glad to have everybody. I said it's just we're gonna figure it all out together. In the meantime, good morning. Happy Monday. I hope you guys had an amazing weekend. Welcome to the Market Watch Group weekly opening bell. My name is Scott. I will be your host. These are the disclaimers. Remember that this is for education and illustrative purposes only. We're not brokers. We're not advisors. We don't give recommendations or guidance. But we do try to learn together. Okay. Agenda. Opening futures and news. Ooh, things look pretty good. And we said, hey, we may have a bounce and we may look to trade the bounce. That's part of what we've been looking at. That's possibilities. Our concern is, what's the extent of this bounce if we get it? Because our posture, well, we'll talk about that. We all know what's happened to our posture, I think. Okay. Is anyone's posture not declined here in the last like 3 in a row? I think we're all in the same basic place, right? Okay. Yeah, there's concern here. We feel some concern, and the market. What's the market's concern? Well, the longer that we leave interest rates high, because we're waiting for inflation to come down, the longer those higher interest rates have an opportunity to denigrate, I guess. I don't know, to hurt the economy, right? It slows things down. Everything's harder. And if it goes for too long, then it's where it's like, oh, then we stall. And then that's when some people thought it was just going to be an immediate recession. Obviously, that didn't happen. But still, we're in this place now where we're just sort of like waiting for the Fed, waiting for the Fed. Okay. Mindset for open trades. I don't think, correct me if I'm wrong. Maybe you have some long-term things in place. Perhaps you have some things that have positive time decay in place. But I wouldn't expect that you're, loaded up with a lot of trades right now, based on the fact that we've been seeing the market deteriorate. We've been getting less signals. We got some signals, got out, took stops. A few cutting back. Okay. All right. There you go. We'll watch the opening range, though. We'll see if there's some early opportunities on our watch list, and we'll go from there. Okay. I'm gonna get my. I'm gonna have to take some notes here. We'll get ready. All right. Got something. Okay, here we go. Yeah, let's get started. All right, here we go. Nope, that's not it. Let's get this up. Let's get to Yahoo. Futures are up. You can see, look at that, 0.5%. S&P, 0.5% on the Dow, 0.7 on the NASDAQ, 0.5% on the Russell. We've got crude down 1%, gold down 2.5%. After what? Not that digestion problems, earnings, digestion problems. Big tech, PCE inflation. What to know this week? Yeah, we talked about those things, right? We said that early this week. There's no economic news on today. Tomorrow, marginal. Right? New home sales. Nobody's really paying attention. It's expected to tick up a little bit. The S&P flash data, nobody pays attention to. Durable goods expected to tick up. We do have GDP on Thursday. And we are expecting that to now indicate a easing back to 2.2. It's still positive. It's not as fast as inflation. So it was a lot better when we were in the threes watching inflation tick down towards that level. But it is positive. And we've had some positive surprises. So we'll see. And then Fridays when we see the PCE numbers kick in, we have income and spending. So what are we looking for? We'd like to see income do exactly what it's projecting, go up a little bit. 5.5, 0.6, whatever. Anything above 0.3 showing growth. Great. Spending, what would we like? Just like that or better. It was 0.8, slowing down to 0.6, 0.5, 0.4. Anything that shows that spending has slowed a little is helpful right now. Prices can't go down, which is inflation coming down. Prices can't come down if people keep buying stuff. This doesn't work. But we have our PCE index expecting to tick up barely, but from 2.5 to 2.6. It is nice that this number here shows in the twos, right? And this is one of the Fed's more popular readings, and this is 2.6, 2.7. So core is supposed to come down year over year, supposed to tick up. Anything surprising would be great. Okay. That's it. As far as the news go, U.S. futures shrug off, sell off as earnings flood waits. Yeah, we're about to hit the earnings, right? Oh, well, look at this. My main man, Arthur Goolsbee. It makes sense to wait. Progress on inflation has stalled, and it makes sense to wait. Wait for what? You never make too much of any 1 month's data, especially inflation, he said in his speech. But after 3 months of this, it can't be dismissed. I mean, he's not wrong. He's not wrong. Longer than expected to get to the 2% target. So there you go. Given this is what we've been talking about here, given the strength of the labor market and progress, it's appropriate to let it work further. I mean, it's hard to argue with that. The market doesn't love it, but it's also not made too bad of an adjustment. So again, if we end up at a 10% correction with some sideways summer action, that's going to be a frustrating market for a lot of folks, especially if they keep trying, thinking it's coming. But we'll trade what comes, and hopefully you're feeling more comfortable practicing some strategies and working on your trading plan, potentially trading some speculative bearish, working on some delta neutral strategies from options. We've got plenty we can do. We're not worried about this. Powerful looking guy, that Goolsby. He looks like he's, I would picture not like a deep bass voice, but just like a commanding voice. Mr. Goolsby. Doctor. I don't know if he's PhD. He should be. Someone should give it to him so he could be the honorary Dr. Goolsby. All right, let's move on. Quick look at the Fed watch. We're about to get our open. Let's just take a glance. Yeah, I a little feel like we're kind of digging in a little, right? First couple things you're like, yeah, that's nothing. That's nothing. And then you're like, okay. That third week, let's look at it. That third week was something, right? I think we can all agree that, whoops, that's not what I wanted. Let's move you over here. I'll reload you. Where's my posture? There it is. I'll need this too. Man, last night I dialed everything in before I went to bed. I'm like, I'll have everything set up. And then the computer does a reset. Son of a gun. All right, here's where we are. Here's where I am. I know most people are close, but you can see that my subscription has expired and I need to renew, but I am not going to till the very last day. Microsoft, you bastards. Okay. It dropped 0.75. And what do we say? Okay, not too bad. Then it drops one and more, and we're like, okay, that's not great. But we could still recover. And here we are. So it accelerated. We've gone negative here. Certainly, our concern for a correction has magnified significantly. So now, a couple of things, though. I mean, you can see, like, my stochastics is down here in an oversold position. We've had this selling. We seem to be stabilizing here, right? We're up 0.5%, just like the market said. But you can see that's a harami. That's an inside day. We're not like this vast bullish day. It's just inside. We're back up. That's not really confirmation yet. But even if we get confirmation, the question is, well, let's say that it does. Let's say we come up and we end up like this. Are we putting trades on? If you're gonna trade, this is where you're catching it, right? Where I can get in and I can put my stop and I can say pretty tight stop. But if I catch something, whether it's this big back to the old low, whether if it's only this big and it starts to stall here at the 50-day, I'll tell you one thing. Either of these things, that would be a lower high. That would be a lower high. Either one of these things is likely to increase our prospects of thinking that there is a correction in front of us. Let me know your thoughts. As you see, this is the second time here. When was the last time we saw our market posture decline like this? The last time we saw it decline like this, the market dropped 10%. And at this point, it had only gone about halfway. So come on, right? Let's be careful with what it is that we're doing right now. If you weren't here for posture, let's just go through it. Long term hasn't changed, but it could soon, right? Depending on, right, it could drop down to a 1, but even in a correction, it's unlikely to drop below 1.25 or 1, right? So it depends on like which pullbacks it seems to be finding itself near. The short term dropped to 0.5 point. That was not a good week last week. Volume only dropped 0.25 point, but it's in danger of being another 0.25 point this week easily. Major market dropped a quarter of a point. Sector rotation dropped a quarter of a point. VIX dropped a quarter of a point. Basically, everything but long-term dropped at least a quarter. One thing dropped a half. And there you go. We lost a point and a half. So that was pretty broad-based. And yes, here we are. Are we panicking? No. In fact, I'm thinking to myself, great. If I put on a couple of bullish trades now, we'll see how they go. I'm ready to go. It's still a hedge, especially if I do have a couple of bullish trades on. Right. And that's the other thing. If you have any of your old hedges, is this where you're done? Are you going to hold on to any? Does anyone still have anything? And if so, are you done? Or are you thinking you're that right? Are you done? And then you're going to wait to see if this thing comes up and the VIX drops a little to let you rebuy some puts. What would we do? Okay, so let's talk about it. No hedges. Let's say this thing pops up and it gets to about right here. It starts to still holding on to some, Michael. Well done. Well done. Right? At this point, there'd be that would give back a good chunk right there. But if you held on and you had time and it made a further drop, it would pay off. Yeah. That's a good question. Let's go take a quick peek at the VIX. Now, remember that I don't know why they get these bad charts. Why can't I change my color? Let's go here and we'll go white. That never happened. You see my magic trick? That's what it should look like right now. But it's very hard because of that. So I'm going to leave it there for a second so we can analyze this better. So from right now, let me go back to red. So from right now, we're at this high. And as we pull back down here, this was our last low right through here. So this is what we're concerned with. Is that's a big range right there for this to drop a few days and then turn just like this here, right? Drops a few days, boom. If we see something like that, our concern is up here next because of this escalation. Does that make sense? And so, yeah. Am I going to buy puts? If it gets to 17 or below, I think I probably would. They're going to be more expensive than we're used to, but they're still going to be, if I buy them at 17 and this thing drops to 24, I'll be just fine. Right? I'll be just fine. So yeah, I'm still thinking there's one more chance. A lot of times I think I want my hedges on sub 16, but I would say this is what I would say for hedging. Puts on the VIX, nope. Puts on the SPY. Puts on the SPY. So yeah, let's look. We look to adapt quickly, and when the market says something, we listen. Okay, let's get to the watch list. Okay. I did have to relog in, so let's see if the toggle feature is working for me now. Apple trying to stabilize, but at a lower low. What does that mean? It's got work to do. Oh, by the way, the answer is no, the toggle is not working. I don't understand. One of my most favorite features of the platform is not working right now. AIG. So we actually said AIG was one that we were bullish on and could have a bullish trade on. It got a little below the 50. Could you still? Sure. Sure, that's your first Heiken Ashi right there. So I could put this trade on with a stop underneath here. I could wait till the end of the day to be convinced. You can see we're only up a little bit, but yeah, I mean, this is something where I'm going to be tightening my stop. If I can catch a little bit of momentum, there we go. Volatility is high. What kind of trade would I be thinking? I'd want to trade that if it got up to 77.50 or 78, I'd be making money. But I'd also want to trade that if it just all of a sudden just kind of like went sideways at 75, 74, I'd still make money. It's a butterfly or a broken wing butterfly. That's definitely a trade which we talked about recently that I'm certainly looking to use and look into. Okay. AMD. No, let me get out of these candles here. Let's go back to regular candles. Amazon looks good. It does have earnings. You don't have much time. You have a week and change. 4:30 aftermarket. That's a week from tomorrow. Aftermarket. Vol is high. But I would say, now here's the problem. Amazon looks great. What's the rest of consumer discretionary look like? Not great. So unfortunately, there's a grain of salt everywhere we go. AXP just reported earnings. They did well, but they're a little overextended here. We'll see what happens. I still have faith in financials. They're doing okay. Boeing's down in the depths. BAC, we said already, looked good back here. Not on this day, but this day definitely. And here we go. City trying. So financials is definitely one where you might think, you know what, I'm going to try to put something on. Like City bouncing off its 50-day right here. I can get in now, 59.29. I can put my stop 57.65. I'm only a buck and a half. $1.70. Can this thing make a $5 move up here to 64? It's its old high. Maybe. But I can actually this one has low vol, so if you do like City, low vol. I do like that actually. Caterpillar. I keep going to the Heiken Ashi and need to remember to come back out. Caterpillar earnings, I mean, it just never material. You can see back here we were hopeful. But this last 5 days, when the market got kind of beat up, you can see Caterpillar didn't get beat up, but it just sort of meandered on a little lower. And now we have earnings, so it's like, well, let's just see what happens. Chipotle actually looks like a setup still, but same kind of a thing. Earnings, vol is high, options aren't great. Capital One is moving up. Oil. Okay, so we talked about being ready for oil. I would wait until I see some confirmation though, right? Don't want to get in early. When you see it jump down a little bit, well, what do? We wait. And now that we've waited, we see that it's down and it's like, well, let's see. I'm hopeful that it regresses, but I'm still going to be ready to put a trade on if it looks like it's going to start accelerating again. I would assume you guys are doing the same. Costco, well, Costco's just kind of going a little sideways in here. CrowdStrike dropping. I think at this point, something like this, like CrowdStrike, it just hasn't done something for so long. Now, and if you remember, we did the same thing. In October, in September and October, last year. As we go through our lists, and we're like, yeah, this thing's broke. It hasn't looked good for a while. Yeah, we bounce it. Our list will shift now. There will be a morph as this goes into a correction. Our watch list will naturally decline in numbers. And then as we rebuild, we find whatever new is strong. And that's what we look to trade. The next wave that finds whatever the new strength is. If it's the same things, great. We'll find them, we'll put them back on. That's some things. Some things never leave my watch list. And that's more arbitrary and personal, where you're like, I'm always going to watch a lot of these. CrowdStrike was not one of them. I like GE. It's just GE. We're gonna see how earnings goes for GE Aerospace, but what a magnificent trend! Yeah, certainly gonna keep watching that. So quiet today. How's everyone feeling? Just a little down with the market like this. What's your thoughts? Talk to me. Okay, let's get back here. Gold. Gold, you can see a nice weighty drop there. Kind of got punched in the mouth a little bit. Google. Google looks okay, right? Communication services look fine. Look at Google. Looks ready to bounce. It's got earnings though. So we're going to be paying attention to Google and their earnings. Amazon and their earnings. Meta coming up here in a minute. Small caps are struggling. We're a little concerned about them. Meta is looking to bounce on the 50, possibly. Earnings coming up. We'll see. We're definitely concerned about Microsoft. Microsoft broke the 50. Let's see how we think about this. I would say this looks pretty strong still. I would say that not only does this look strong, that if we get a minor, did I miss this? Let's go here like that. Yeah. A little bit more pullback puts it right in line. You can see we had the same kind of a thing from July till when? October. So if we have that same kind of a thing happen here, is that going to give us a good opportunity to catch the next one? Hell yes, right? Come on, right? We try to catch the short-term waves when they're on, and then when we notice that things have gotten worse, we're waiting for the longer-term waves to reset. And what do? I mean, you can see that these can be extended periods, these resets, right? So this looks like this could still have another couple of months. What do? Calendars, butterflies, broken wing butterflies. We have strategies. There's plenty that we can do. Holding on, Michael said. Okay. That might have been from earlier, but it makes sense now still, doesn't it? Okay. Where was I on the watch list? Let's get back. Perspective matters. Micron holding up. We'll see. Netflix got beat up on their earnings, pulling back. How does this look from this standpoint? Okay. We look okay. I mean, it was pretty nasty, but let's just see what happens. Nope, I want the charts back. Give me those charts. NVIDIA broke the 50, trying to restabilize. Picard, same kind of a thing. A few things are trying. We can sense it. PLTR. I got to kick it off the list, right? It's got to go. We got to start cleaning things up. Picard's close. Actually, I think, yeah. I don't know. I'll leave it on a little bit longer. Here's why. Because if I look at this, it looks like a consolidation, but this is a pretty steep accelerating pattern. So if it's going to resume that, I want to see it and be ready for it when it does. QQQ, SMCI. Yeah, I don't like SMCI right now. I'm getting rid of that one as well. Really got beat up and is just kind of starting to meander down. Maybe it shows back up again. Here's the SPY. We're up 0.45. We're 27 minutes in. Nope, we're 17 minutes in. Here's our opening range. You can see we gapped up. We sold off a little. We stabilized. Okay. We break the downside. I think we're going to be testing 494 again. We break the upside, and I think maybe we do test 500 and we see this thing. So let's see what 500 would look like from this standpoint. Okay, so if we can break the range, there's a good chance that we end up like this. So the question is, do you have trades that you're saying, hey, if this is where the market's going to try to make a bounce, and instead of only 3 or 4 days, it becomes 8 or 9 days, and I'm going to want to have at least a couple of things testing the waters for that. This is it. This is what we're looking for. If you've already got your trades on, some of you said you do, you're just holding on for this. You're just saying, yeah, I'm going to hold on. And if we see this march up, make a lower high and turn over, then we are really, really concerned and likely hedging and or speculating to the downside. Taiwan Semiconductor, the chips have all kind of broken their 50s. Not good. I'm not going to get rid of all of them. We got to watch chips because chips is such an important part of the market. Here's the VIX. You can see continuing to pull back. Remember that it never really crossed the top of this, so just discount that right there happened. But yeah, it's got a long ways to go before we are like, maybe it's not, right? That's still a higher low everywhere in that box. We're escalated right now. And so we're maybe going to have to sit through something where it comes down. Now, if we see something like that, well, that's great. Then it's a quick reversal. Well, I'm open to that. I've seen that before. Absolutely, especially in a bull market. Waste management looks good, but it's got earnings coming up soon. Walmart trying to bounce. Basic materials, nothing there. Communication services looks good, looks bounceable. Energy looks bounceable. Financials is bouncing, but we'll see how high it gets. If it can't get very far, then we're starting to think that it looks like it may have some type of a correction. XLI, same thing, looks okay. Looks like it's trying to stabilize. I feel pretty confidently bullish. This thing here, we're only like, we dropped from 126 to 120. 6 points. That's 5%. It's nothing. We're still sitting right on top of the 50. You can see some of these are worse. Technology is definitely much worse for the wear. Staples. Okay. Utilities. We're a little bit thinking about defensiveness showing up here. So we'll see. XLV, healthcare is down. XLY, consumer discretionary. This is why we're a bit concerned with Amazon, right? Amazon looks good. Most everything else in consumer discretionary does not. That's problematic. Okay. Trading plan. If we're trading less, what are we going to do? Work on our trading plans more. Work on our delta neutral strategies, paper trading and practicing butterflies, broken wing butterflies, calendars, possibly iron condors. There's plenty to do. Right? There's plenty to do. Let's start here. I am getting my own trading plan out. Got it out. Working on what? Personal info. Working on our strengths, weaknesses. Strengths is important. What do you do well? So that you can make sure that when you're building your rules, you're building your rules around those strengths, that you're leveraging those strengths. What do you struggle with, right? Do you struggle with patience? Do you struggle with emotional reactions? Do you struggle with cutting losses short? Do you struggle with letting winners run? Do you struggle with confidence? Do you struggle with what? what are your struggles in the market? Try to identify at least two, if not three core. You don't need to make it into, there's some long list where you're like, sometimes we're trying to identify things that we can make sure that our rules don't rely on us because it's not strong. B, we start to use our trading plan to orient it around strengths and weaknesses. We'll set goals around those weaknesses, specific goals to try to fix weaknesses. That's what we're going to be working on this time. So whatever you put now, when we get to goals in 4 weeks and we say, all right, we have a whole trading plan in front of us. Now that we have it, let's try to improve it. What are we going to do? Well, let's start with weaknesses. Let's improve ourselves as part of our trading. Then we figure out what rules we want to improve based on some of our record keeping. So be thoughtful with this, because I promise you, you'll find some things where you're like, oh wow, this was really helpful. That's strengths and weaknesses, commitment and discipline. These are just like statements, your commitment and discipline statement. And that's just a personal section where you're kind of like, hey, this is the amount of time I want to spend. This is the commitment I'm making. This is the level of detail and grit I'm trying to establish. I don't miss days. Even if I don't want to, I'm going to pull my phone out, like things like that. Mission statement. This was an interesting one for me. I Googled it way back when. I said, how to write a mission statement. And then I said, I'm going to apply this to my trading. If you ever have written a mission statement, it's about core values. It's about objectives, values, beliefs, right? So I'll share mine. I'll post I've kept my mission statement for many years. So I'll post mine in Discord when we go into this week at some point, when we go in and have a discussion about these different components. That's the task, that you're not just working on it, but you're also popping into Discord at some point, reading up, posting, asking questions, answering questions. Let's have some discussions. Mission statement, vision statement. So your mission statement is a couple of sentences, paragraph maybe, right? Your vision statement is a little different. That's the colorful one to me. So I tell people this is what it's based off of. I say trading, if done right, has the ability to change a person's life, right? If you can get 20% out of a market where most people are just hoping to get 8, if you can break even when the market's going down, if there's all these things you can do, if you can average 15 to 20% returns, you get to retirement sooner, you retire better, produce more, it changes things. Great. So let's say you get your trading where you want it to be. What does life look like? So this is kind of the motivation. What is it? What is the money that you're hoping to? You're like, oh, I'm here to make money. Well, yeah, I mean, you want to be successful. Why? What are we trying to do with that? So I think we've all probably been there already, but trading can take you dark places sometimes, right? Where you question things and your confidence, and you're like, oh, I can't. No matter what you do, it's just like, if I just did the damn opposite of what I'm doing, right? We've all been there, I think. So what do we rely on? If we're like, if we get to that point where you ask, why am I doing this? Yeah, good question. Why are you doing this? That vision statement. That's why, because you're going to whatever, donate money to your church, travel, pay for your kids to go to college, pay for your grandkids to go to college, give money philanthropically to your favorite organizations, have what you need to travel to whatever it is. What are you getting out of this? That's what we're looking for here. Is our motivation to make sure that when we hit a rough patch, we can turn to our motivation and be like, yeah, okay, this was rough, but I know why I'm here, and I'm gonna get through this. I think it's important. It's helped me. I have definitely had times where I look back and I think, man, it is an absolute miracle that I survived. I blew up a couple of accounts early in my trading, and I'm like, how? did I get through that and decide, yeah, let's try again. I'm glad I did. But yeah, I think it's important for us to establish like what's going to get us through those hard times. So this section for a lot of people that I've worked with over the years is really low on their priority level. And I disagree with that. I emphasize that it's really important to get comfortable with ourselves, our strengths, our weaknesses, with what we're doing here and why we're doing it and what it requires. And let's just get all our cards on the table, right? Get all our cards on the table and we're ready to go. So, section 1. So remember this week, let me bring Discord over. Dun, dun, dun. Oh. Drop you, move you. You can see my never-ending screen. Put Butterfly in SPX. Nice. Love it. In our channels, in our text channels, we have trading plan discussions. You can see I'm excited for section 1 starting over. So let's get ready. Maybe I'll start with that. Maybe I'll post some weaknesses that I'm going to be focusing on. I'm going to pick 2 weaknesses to really highlight and carry forward through this iteration of my trading plan to focus on. So I don't want to just like wait till I get to section 8 and be like, oh, now I'll set some goals. I'm identifying them now so that I can start thinking about them and how they impact my trading. Where do I see them? How do I see them? And then by the time I get to section 8, they've already percolated and they're ready for me to start actually establishing mechanisms and rules that are going to help with them. So we're here later tonight. We're going to have a cocktail, chat, hang out a little bit. I hope you'll join me for that. Remember that is up here in our calendar. That is Monday's cocktail hour. Look at these people cheersing. Cheers. Salut. It's going to be an amazing time of conversation and camaraderie and market madness. I don't know. Just come hang out and see how it is. Okay. But we will be posting here in our trading plan discussions. There's many things happening this week. A lot of exciting things happening. Let's continue pushing that migration away from Zoom and onto this Discord. I will continue my pursuit of making sure everything works right. We will build our plans. We will get through whatever this rough market patch is, and we will go from there. It's good to see everybody. I hope to see you all tonight. I'm looking forward to hanging out and having it be a little more casual. Cameras on, maybe a screen share here or there. I'm not even sure what's in my liquor cabinet, but I'm gonna find something good. My son's friend left Arnold Palmer's. I love Arnold Palmer. I didn't know they made alcoholic versions of that, but they do. Whoops. And so, well, maybe I'll even have one of those. We'll see. We'll see. Let me get back to where I can see chat. All right. You guys if I don't see you, have a great rest of your day. If I do, I'll see you soon. And as always, happy trading.